happy second day of Pride Month. This video that you're about to watch is one of the videos that I pre-recorded, hence why I'm using my little microphone instead of my big proper one. That's all sorted now, so this in theory, aside from any like vlogs and stuff, should be the only proper sit down video in which I'll be using that microphone. Okay, cool. My name is Ren and I make videos a couple of times a week about books and pop culture, and today I have some book recommendations of books featuring asexual main characters. I'm using my little tiny baby microphone. I'm hoping that this will be okay. My main microphone for some reason is just not working. I've tried everything setting up for this video and it is just not playing today, so gotta figure that out because it's actually not that old, so it should not be broken already. Let's talk about some books. The first book that we have is a new book to my collection. I bought this a few weeks ago. It was a book that I'd wanted to read for so long, so I was really looking forward to it, and that's Dear Wendy. This book focuses on Sophie, who is Aro Ace, and despite this, she knows this. She's in her first year of college. She's very sure in her identity. She has a account called Dear Wendy, which provides relationship advice to the students on campus. And then we also have Jo, who is also our race, who is also a first year university student, and she has a Dear Wanda account, and they kind of like, it wasn't meant to be taken seriously, but it's ended up was being taken seriously and kind of became a rival account to the Dear Wendy account. Sort of everything from there, and then they start to realize that actually maybe they can use these communities for good and bring awareness to like the ASPEC community within their university. And it's everything from there. It's really lovely, it's really sweet, it's just, yeah, it's so nice, and just, yeah, really well written, and I really loved it. Then we have Soft on Soft by Mina Waheed. I actually got this book for Christmas. Just gone, my sister-in-law got it for me, and this focuses on June, and she posts daily makeup looks online. Her real life, she's not like her online persona. She wants a little bit more. She wants kind of a little bit extra in life, and she has some feelings for Selena Clark, who is a model, and they've got a lot in common, and June feels really comfortable around her, but she's kind of facing her anxieties, and it's everything from there. This is demisexual representation as well, which I think is really good. I think we don't talk enough about the like spectrum of asexuality. I think there's a lots of stereotypes and perceptions of what asexuality is, and that is misrepresented, and the actual ASPEC community is very varied and it differs between person and person, and I think there needs to be more conversation about what it actually is, because people are very misunderstood and people don't talk about it. And then we have Rick by Alex Gino, and I absolutely love this book, and I think that this book is really, 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 really important. A few people have critiqued this book. Rick is in middle school, I think. Yes, he's now in middle school. And people were saying, and that the critique was that he could not possibly know about his asexuality that young. You are coming up to middle school. I mean, what's that? In the UK, you'd be in year 7, you'd be in senior school, so you would be in the UK equivalent of what a high school is, because our high schools are 6 years, not 4. And I remember being in year 7, and there was pressure about relationships. There was talk about relationships, right? And it used to make me feel really uncomfortable, and I never really knew what to like say about it. And everyone kind of like would have their first boyfriend, their first girlfriend, and it was like a thing, and I didn't. And I think there's a really important part in this book where Rick acknowledges that like you wouldn't, if someone was in year 7, if someone was his age and had a girlfriend, you wouldn't say, oh, well, you might not actually want to have a girlfriend in the future, so you should not have a girlfriend now. Like, that wouldn't be questioned. So why is the other version questioned, right? And this is in Rick's middle school. There's like a rainbow spectrum club with people that are all on the LGBTQ identities, like all different things. It's actually set in the same universe as Alex Gino's other book, Melissa, which is also phenomenal. And Melissa is in the group. I think it's really important, and I think the conversations in this are really important because there is never a time like being in school and like there being conversations about relationships and feeling uncomfortable is seriously something which people don't talk about because it's just seen as the normal thing, right? Like teenage relationships, like crushes, that kind of thing. It's just seen as normal. No one actually talks about the fact that so many people don't feel that, and that it's very common to not feel that, and that that feeling is not something which ever goes away. Like, and so I think Rick's actually really important, and I think talking about these feelings at that age is crucial because it makes you realize that there's actually nothing wrong with you if this is something which makes you feel uncomfortable. So I think Rick was really good, and I really like what Alex Gino does with their books. I think that they really talk about and tackle things that not everyone wants to talk about or that people just dismiss. But I think it's really important. Then we have Is Love the Answer by Yuta Isaki. Now, this is a manga. I saw this like this in the shelf, right? So this was this way out, and I was like, that's the asexual flag. I went running and I picked up this book and I loved this. So I actually made a video end of last year about queer manga that I read last year. There was so much of it. And as someone who grew up reading manga and who was like really obsessed with anime and manga, for there to now be so much queer manga is absolutely phenomenal. Like I remember when I watched Yuri on Ice and they had to censor the kiss. Like they had to draw it so that Victor's arm covered them kissing. To now having manga that's not only queer but that's about multiple different queer identities, phenomenal, and I loved this. And this because is on Chica. She's in high school. She's wondered if there's something wrong with her. She can't really like talk about or feel the same way about relationships that her friends do. And then when she enters college, university, she realizes that there's people like her and there's a word for it and it's asexual and that's what it is. And she gets really good advice and like there's really good conversations about it being a spectrum and how different people feel different ways. And I absolutely loved it. So good. So good. Then we have Every Heart a Doorway by Stephen Maguire. I've actually spoken about this before, but I feel like I have to talk about it again. And this is a really, really interesting series. It's about the kids that go to fantasy worlds like Wonderland, Narnia, etc. And it's about the kids that come back and are like really messed up about it. Which, like, yeah, like, can you imagine? Can you imagine going to those worlds? Like, we say about fantasy worlds and wanting to escape there, but like the actual realities of it would just like really mess you up. Like, especially like Wonderland. Like Alice, I'm surprised that she was ever able to like function after that. Love this series. Has an asexual main character. There's loads of books in this series. I am catching up. But yeah, there's an asexual main character. Wanted to recommend. Really good. It was that was actually the first depiction of asexuality I'd ever read about. Then we have Tash Hart's Tolstoy by Catherine Ormsby, and this focuses on Tash, and she gets shouted out by a very famous vlogger. So, and then she ends up going viral, and she has a web series which is a modern adaptation of Anna Karenina, and she ends up being nominated for an online award. And her online crush that she's been talking to, that kind of like it ends up becoming something a bit more in person, but she doesn't know how to tell him that she's a romantic asexual. And it is everything from there. I loved this book. Again, this is one of the first books I ever read about asexuality, so I always recommend it. I remember Googling way back when books with asexual characters, and the next, wow, Every Heart a Doorway, this and the next one were like the three that came up that I always talk about, but I'm obviously always looking for more, so I recommend. Love this, really good, absolutely loved it. Then we have Let's Talk About Love by Claire Kahn, and this focuses on Alice. She had her summer all planned, it was going to be great, and then her girlfriend breaks up with her because she's asexual. and Alice decides she's gonna swear off romance. Like she's not doing this. She meets Takumi, and she can't stop thinking about him. And it is everything from there. And this is biromantic asexuality. So really, really good. And I loved this book. Again, one of the first books I read. And I absolutely adored it. So I always recommend it. And then I do not think I can make a video about books with asexual characters and about asexuality if I didn't include the final book on this list, which is Loveless by Alice Oseman. When I tell you this book broke me, I am being completely serious. I read all of Alice's books back to back when I was in recovery from one of my surgeries, and I was fine doing so until I read Loveless, and I read it in one sitting, and my brain hurt. This book verbalized and explained things that I have been trying to put into words for years and couldn't do. And I love it for that. There was so many things that Georgia. So I should probably explain what this book is about. It's about Georgia. She thinks is there something wrong with her. She loves romance, like she loves to read romance, she loves fan fiction, like all of this. But then she's like, but she's never really been in a relationship, and she just kind of think, it's not really been a thing. And whenever she is in one, it's a bit like she's never really been in love. She's never really had relationships. Whenever there's anything, like she feels a bit awkward, and then she comes to realize it's because she's asexual. She's ROA, so she's asexual and aromantic. And like I said, there are things in this book that just verbalized what I've been trying to say. There was just so much, and I loved the complexity of it. Like there was such important conversation. I think people have such a, like I said before, such a misconception and just a assumption of what asexuality is and what it actually entails, and kind of all the different people don't seem to understand all the different levels to it. But there's a lot of levels, and I think people need to kind of understand that, and understand that it's something which isn't a one size fits all. And I wish that people realize that more often than not. So yeah, I and Loveless does that so well. It explores so many things in such important ways, and I absolutely adore Loveless. It is beautiful and wonderful and one of the best books. I think it's actually Alice's best book, in my opinion. So yeah, those are some book recommendations with asexual, aspec main characters. I would love to know if you guys have any recommendations. Please leave them in the comment. I have a couple more on a list that I need to be getting to. And I'm looking forward to doing that. So I shall be diving into those very soon. But yes, leave your own recommendations down below. Thank you guys for watching. Like I said, if you're new here, then I make videos a couple of times a week about books and pop culture. So if you want to stick around and join us, feel free to hit that subscribe button. And my Queer Bookish podcast will be in the description as well, so you can come check that out. Thank you guys for watching. I've been doing really, 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 really well, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.